guys, welcome back to Catalinas Classroom, episode 2. So, before I get started, I'm recording this on iMovie and I haven't made the thumbnail yet, so it's just a photo of that Swaggy P meme with the question marks. But anyways, if you guys are new to this channel and new to me, hi, my name is Kat of Catalina's Classroom. I'm a holistic acne herbalist, and my whole focus in my job is to help women overcome post birth control as well as post doxycycline or Accutane acne, which is on the rise because unfortunately a lot of doctors and primary care physicians are just handing out prescriptions like they're candy without really going over the possible long term and short term side effects. Anyways, today's episode is going to be about building 3 ways to build your confidence while you're waiting to see results on your acne healing journey. This is something that I've seen clients struggle with because it's hard. It's hard to keep up or be consistent with something when you don't see the fruits of your labor. That's why a lot of us, and maybe you, maybe that's why when you start a new regimen or when you start a new hobby or you want to start on a new um, good habit, healthy habit, you get frustrated because you don't see immediate results overnight. But a big part of health that a lot of people don't realize is two things. 9 times out of 10, the day that you plant the seed is not the day that you get the fruit. Meaning, the day you start the work, it's usually not going to be this magical overnight transformation. Number two, everyone's timeline is different because everybody's body is different. It's really easy, especially, and I'm guilty of it because I post my testimonials of my clients, and I don't want people thinking like, oh, if I don't see results by month 2, I'm a failure. Oh, if I don't see immediate results after week 4, there must be something wrong with me. Everybody is different in their own right. Everyone's body has been through different things. Everyone has a different stress load. Their nervous system is wired differently. Everyone is just in a different place. So you really can't compare yourself on this journey. Now, I speak from personal experience. These are all tips that I have done myself when I'm still healing my skin. I'm not a perfect person. No one is. But these are all things that I have used myself and that really helped me build my confidence to the point where I now have my own business. I now am not scared of going outside without any makeup on, even if I am breaking out. I just simply don't care. Of course, I care about my appearance, but the self consciousness, the incessant desire to want to impress everybody with my external beauty, the what will everybody think, all of that has completely disappeared from my life from the last, I want to say 3 years it's been. So it takes a while, but not saying it'll take 3 years for you to see this mindset shift. But like anything, your brain is a muscle, and the thought patterns that we have, those are all almost like muscle memory. So if you were taught growing up, whether through maybe family or friend relationships, that your skin was something to be ashamed of or self conscious of, or you were surrounded by people who weren't sensitive to your insecurities about your skin, and you've continued to internalize that, it gets to be really hard to be accepting of yourself. So I think it's important to not just examine and to make steps in your physical journey of what you're eating and supplements, etc., and herbs, but also your mind, because that's free. That's 100% free. And this is free right now. So promise, if you take some of these tips, it's going to change your life for the better, because I know from personal experience it did for mine. So number one, one of the first things I did was I started developing my personal style. And you might be thinking, Kat, that costs money. Which, okay, hear me out. I started this journey when I was a broke 19-year-old, so I spent a lot of my time in thrift stores. And what I mean when I say developing your personal style, you don't have to break the bank. You don't have to go on an impulse shopping spree as you're listening to this. But what I've noticed is a pattern with a lot of women and just generally people who struggle with acne is they feel this need to cover up and hide themselves from the world. And this internalized shame of their skin affects the way that they present themselves in the world. Just because you're breaking out doesn't mean that you can't look nice, doesn't mean that you can't buy yourself clothes that fit you really well, doesn't mean that you shouldn't indulge in adorning yourself and treating your body like the temple that it is. Um, and this is something that I continue to see. People just hide their bodies away. They hide themselves away just because of what their face is doing. And if that's what you're currently doing, if you take a look at your wardrobe and really ask yourself if you're feeling confident in what you wear or what type of message are the clothes that you're wearing sending out there. Another thing that I noticed for myself is that when my skin was at its quote unquote, I don't like to use this word, but worst, I wanted to dress provocatively because I felt like since my face wasn't as beautiful as I wanted it to be or I thought it could be, I felt like I owed the world something more. So I would dress very promiscuously, thinking that this is what would make people want to connect with me, or quote unquote made up for my skin, which is a really unhealthy way of thinking, but it happens. It happens because acne really does affect the way that you feel about yourself and the way that you allow yourself to be seen and connect with the world. It makes you feel like you deserve less than just your average human being. I would dare to say that the woman that suffers from chronic acne probably has a really mean self dialogue, but would do anything for someone else if they needed it. But your skin doesn't dictate your self worth, and it also doesn't mean that you should prove yourself to people in other ways. For example, like dressing promiscuously. So look at your wardrobe. Look at how you feel when you walk out. Do yourself a favor, accessorize. Pick out things that make you feel good. Pick out outfits that, you're walking down the street and you have like making my way downtown walk like just in the back of your mind, or I don't know, what's a good like strut song? I kind of wanted to say Iggy Azalea, walk a mile in the Louboutins, but that's a terrible song. Any song that you can think of. What I just mean to say is dress in a way that makes you feel good. Don't dress in a way where you feel like you're trying to, well, I shouldn't say that because we all dress at the end of the day for an ulterior motive. We want people to know that we feel good about ourselves too. So take the step. Go out to thrift stores. Thrift stores are also really great for accessories and things like purses, so you don't have to go on Shein or Mercari. Go out. Go out and find things that fit nicely on your body that make you feel good. Having your own sense of style is going to do wonders for your confidence. And wearing good fitting clothing that flatters your body and dressing to impress doesn't mean you have to wear a suit or a dress everywhere. Just simply make a conscious effort to pick things that make you feel good. A lot of us, personally, my personal experience with clothes and style is that I didn't really see the necessity of it. I viewed it as more of a luxury because I came from a family where I had four siblings. So you didn't really have a style. You just got whatever was a hand me down. And then I also grew up with a dad. Shout out to you, Dad, who is an immigrant. And he came here from the Philippines, and he's a very practical guy. And he also wasn't super into having a fashion sense or a fashion style. It was kind of just whatever. So I grew up with that mindset. But as I entered my 20s, or maybe even before my 20s, when I started becoming a young adult, I realized, hey, it's not a bad thing to want to feel good in your body, and it's not a bad thing to want to dress nicely. It really does wonders for the way that not only how you feel about yourself, but it opens doors at the end of the day, guys. I'm going to be honest. You can make a lot of connections via what you wear and how you present yourself to the world. Number two is developing your own personal hobbies and interests. People in general forget about this because we live in a world where everyone has made the sum of their self worth how many likes they got on Instagram and how beautiful they look. So many people, both men and women, look amazing, touched by the gods of the genes. There is only one God. It's Jesus Christ. Okay, anyways, touched by the gods of the genes, hypothetically speaking. But talking to some of these people, it's like talking to a doorknob. People out here are extremely lost and have no idea what they're actually interested in. And when you are struggling with something like acne, it's very easy to just internalize that as your sole personality. You make it the loudest and most important thing in your head, when in reality, it's promise you it's not that important. And a good way to battle this is to throw yourself into activities, into interests that make you happy, make you feel alive, that make you a more interesting person, frankly. For me, it was holistic health. After I found holistic health, I was just the biggest herb nerd, biggest nutrition nerd. I just was always on NCBI, but I loved it. I, excuse me, I loved it so much. And through developing that interest and from watering that hobby, I met so many cool people. That's how I made Catalina's Classroom. That's how I got to where I am now. Um, don't sleep on the activities that make you feel beautiful as well and that help you get in touch with yourself. So it could be anything. If you're a sporty person, try, and you're a woman, try pole dancing or aerial yoga. If you are more of a introvert, try getting into reading. If yoga is also good for introverts too. If you are more business minded and savvy and you have an idea, put yourself out there and start your business, start your side hustle, whatever it is that you want to do. Just don't get stuck in thinking that just because you're breaking out, you can't put yourself out there, or that that has to be your sole personality trait. Your life gets so much better when you start developing other parts of yourself because, of course, I'm not going to lie to you guys and say that looks aren't important. They are. Looks are important. We feel there's value in looks. But have you ever, bring a call back to what we just talked about, have you ever met someone who had looks and they were just the worst? So acne doesn't define your self-worth. We're circling back to that too. Acne doesn't define your self-worth. And you're going to feel better about yourself when you also have accomplished things that make you feel proud. So that's why developing a skill or a hobby is also really helpful during this time. Because if you're doing hard things, like let's say you're super into pole, like I said before, and you're mastering all these skills and these techniques, and maybe you're starting an Instagram or you're meeting new people, your confidence is going to shoot up because you're no longer super concerned about what people see on the outside, but you're operating from a place of wanting to connect and wanting to actually live in life and not just hide yourself away. So that's my second tip for you guys. Do things that make you feel happy, that interest you. Develop your personality. And I promise you, you're going to meet some really great people. You're going to feel, and it's going to reduce stress too. That's the thing. A huge part of acne is also stress. And if you are actively participating in activities and connecting with people who lower that stress response, who make you feel safe, who make you feel connected, your skin is going to improve by proxy. It might sound woo woo wah wah, but you wouldn't believe the amount of people that I've spoken to or who have left comments on my TikTok at Catalina's Classroom who have said after they left a stressful relationship or after they started traveling for their job or whatever it was, their skin started clearing up. So do things, go to places where you want to be, do what you enjoy, and grow in that way. And I promise you're going to feel a lot better. And thirdly, commit to acting and doing things in a manner that makes you feel good about yourself. And this ties into the last point just a little bit, because a lot of people that I've met who are struggling or have struggled with acne, they have a very, and you might be able to relate to this, a very mean self dialogue, very hard on themselves. They usually will overwork themselves. They are not usually able to give themselves grace in the sense where everyone else gets second chances and everyone else is allowed to mess up, but for some reason they are not. And a huge part in growing your confidence, not just in your skin healing journey, but just in life in general, you have to become somebody and talk to yourself like you would a good friend. And I'm not saying coddle yourself, because good friends are also honest when they need to be, and the honest truth isn't always the pretty truth. But hold yourself accountable. Commit to your plans, your protocols. Commit to doing healthy habits. Commit to saying no to people who don't deserve your yes. Start treating yourself like you would your best friend, or something that I learned in therapy that's really, really helpful. Because I am somebody who still today I struggle with accepting poor treatment, because something in my brain, the way that I was raised, it's a bunch of factors. Something tells me that I deserve it. So, an exercise my therapist taught me was, if my little sister, who, if you guys know me in real life, you know that my little sister is my world to me. Like, I probably should, okay, I won't say that. Hypothetically speaking, if I had to catch a charge over any one person in the world, it would be my sister, also the rest of my siblings, but especially my sister. If somebody was treating my sister the way that they were treating me, would I tell her to stay? Would I tell her to go? How would I tell her to handle it? If I don't believe that my sister would deserve what's happening to me, why do I think it's okay for myself? Because sometimes we hold our friends to a higher standard than we do ourselves, especially if we struggle with things like self care or putting ourselves first. So, if you would want your best friend or your mom or your little sister, whoever matters most to you in the world, if you want them to take care of themselves and treat themselves nicely and speak to themselves with kindness, commit to doing that for yourself. Commit to making yourself feel good. Sorry, to making yourself feel good. There's nothing wrong with being your own support. It's harder because we're just wired for some reason to also critique ourselves. And some of us more so than others, depending on your childhood or your adolescence. If you had caretakers or peers who were very critical of you and didn't give you a break, or there was no room for failure, it feels a lot more difficult to be nicer to yourself. But that's all the more reason to start soon. It's going to be very hard for you to even appreciate any progress that comes if you're not able to also celebrate your smaller wins and to just enjoy the steps that you take in the days that you have now. Like, if making your meals is a chore, if going out on walks is a chore, if taking care of yourself is a chore, it's not going to feel good. The progress is not going to hit as good. So, my advice to you guys is commit to yourself. A lot of us out here are trying to commit to everybody else. We're trying to commit in relationships. We're trying to be there for everybody else. And a lot of us are not even there for ourselves. So if that's you, you can make the decision today, tomorrow, whenever you want to start. Today is the best day to start, though. Make a list. Make a list of all the things that you want to be doing, that your most confident version of yourself does. So does the most confident version of yourself go to pole dancing classes? I feel like I'm trying to tell myself to go back to pole dancing. I love pole dancing. But anyways, does the most confident version of yourself go to pole dancing? Are they soft? Do they speak with, what the heck was that? Do they speak with confidence? Is the most confident, well, yeah, I would hope so. They're the most confident version of yourself. Is the most confident version of yourself, do they cook their own meals? What do they do for work? What's their attitude towards life? Map it out and look at the list and see what you are actively doing and what you're not. and just make a plan. Honestly, people ask me like how I got to where I am as a coach, and oh, it did take years, but a huge part of what I do is just finding the time for my clients and then making a plan that fits their lives. Because a lot of people with their own lives, and you listening to this, you might feel the same sentiment where it feels so busy all the time that there's no time to cook, there's no time to do this, there's no time to do that. It's not until sometimes you bring someone in who's an unbiased third party who asks you very intentional questions about your day to day, your lifestyle, and your personality, where you get to see, oh, I actually have time. I have time to do this. I have time to take care of myself. I have time to do this activity. I have time to cook. Sometimes that's all you need. Make a plan for yourself. You don't need me to make a plan for you. You really don't. I think everybody is capable of making humongous strides on their own, but you have to be a different level of committed. So if you aren't able to invest in a coach like me or someone else, just know you're going to have to be like 100 times more committed to your healing than the person that has a coach. Because the person that has a coach is going to be the person that has somebody that's going to be texting them or DMing them, just holding them accountable because that's their job. It's harder when you do it on your own because you're the only one that's there to pick you up if you fall and to give you some cheers when you do something that's, I don't want to say good, but you accomplish something. So yeah, commit to what makes you feel good. Stop saying yes to the stuff that makes you feel like garbage, whether that's certain friends. I don't really like to say certain foods because I think that it can develop a little bit of like food paranoia. Um, Certain activities, spending habits, whatever it is. Start really analyzing your life and seeing where you can commit to being I don't like to say better, but a more improved you, which is just another way to say better. But, anyways, I hope that this is helpful for you guys. I want to keep doing videos, well, episodes like this, kind of elaborating on what I touch on my Instagram because I think it is a good way for me to talk to you guys because I don't think I really come across all that much in my Instagram posts, and I hate TikTok with a burning passion, and Instagram Reels give me nausea. So I'm trying out this stories Facebook group and YouTube route. So bear with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and please comment down below. DM me, email me if you have any questions or concerns on how to work with me, or if you have a suggestion for what you want me to talk about for the next video. And any videos too, any like reaction videos, I would be so happy to do. I have an obsession with reaction videos on YouTube, so if you guys send me that, I'd be really happy. Anyways, like, subscribe, share, and yeah. If you guys want to see a little bit more of me and hear a little bit more from me, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Catalinas Classroom. I'm more active on the stories on there, not so much the feed. And sign up to my email list. I'll put the link down in the description bio below so you guys can go do that. But I hope you guys all have a good day, and thank you for staying tuned. And class has ended. Oh my god.